Hello Wolfpack, RLC. iExec is the topic of analysis in this video, and we're making a video on iExec because iExec is one of my most, bullish bags for this bull run for the altcoin season that is upcoming. And just to preface this video, just to kind of clear up any kind of speculation as to why I'm making this video right now, I'm not looking to buy any altcoins until Bitcoin crushes its RSI resistance. However, I am scalp trading and swing trading. And I think Bitcoin will crush its RSI resistance. I think Bitcoin will go over 61.1k. But until that point, I'm going to be pretty cautious. But regardless, I'm still going to be making this video on RLC because I think it's in a pretty good position to maybe look for a potential trade and even a potential buy-in for a slightly longer term hold. So look, RLC has had this uptrending level of support all the way back since December 2020, and it's constantly come down and held this area for support, head upwards, held area for support, and head to the upside over and over and over again. Right, we can see multiple retests of this, and each time it has bounced to the upside, and so it's been pretty clear that this is a great swing trading coin because there's very prominent levels of support that it needs to hold. Each time when it does hold those levels of support, it bounces to the upside. We have another smaller, shorter term level of support that has been forming over the past couple of months, ever since around August here, right? We held it for the first time. We came back down, we lost it, it acted as resistance in September, and we've held it 3 consecutive times in a row, each time bouncing off of it. Now, the interesting part about this newfound support line, which I'll actually make, I'll make yellow just so it's easier to see here. The interesting part about this newfound support line, which is yellow, is that we're actually coming towards the end of it and we've entered a triangular formation, which indicates that a breakout is actually going to be on the way soon for RLC. Now, when will that happen? Before November 29th. We can get a better view of that breakout on the 4-hourly chart, where you can see it's a pretty clear symmetrical triangle formation. We've been heading upwards on the lows and heading downwards on the highs, and we're coming towards a crunch. And the reason why I think we're coming towards a crunch is also because of the fact, not only because of the fact that we're clearly compressing here, also because of the fact we're compressing into a fundamental support zone at $4, and we've got this uptrending level support that will be supporting us if we drop downwards towards $3.30 to $3.40. So it is a low risk trade to begin with, because the most we can possibly go down without breaking this downtrending level support from current prices is around 15 to 18%. So you're risking a 15 to 18% loss for a gain if we just take the measurement from the first test at the bottom to the first test at the top and break that to the breakout point. You're risking 15% for a gain of roughly 53%. So the risk-reward ratio is pretty clearly in your favor. And if you're of the opinion that Bitcoin will recover, or even if you wait for Bitcoin to recover, or even if you wait for RLC to make a breakout, you're going to be put in a pretty favorable position to make a trade on RLC. Now, personally, I trade every coin, right? But I personally right now would look for a buying signal for RLC. Now, a good place to buy into the coin, because I've traded in the past, and I probably will trade this breakout as well. If Bitcoin doesn't look better by the time this breakout happens, it will be a short-term trade. If not, it will be a longer-term buy-in, because in this bull market, I'm expecting RLC to go pretty crazy. Why? Well, my answer to that question is because RLC focuses on decentralized cloud computing. If you don't know, that is basically the equivalent of selling shovels during a gold rush, right? The people who sold the shovels made the most money. RLC is selling the software, and hence they will probably make the most money, right? Decentralized cloud computing, look into it. Essentially, what their service is, and it does relate back to the Metaverse, which is surging right now, and gaming tokens as well. They're essentially, you can go to a marketplace and sell or rent out and buy other people's software and pay a certain amount of fees in RLC for that software use. Essentially, you're buying bandwidth off of people and things like that, right? So anything to do with buying and selling computer software and processing power and stuff over the internet online in a decentralized fashion, and using it for certain things, for example, building a metaverse, for example, building NFTs, for example, anything of that sort. So they're letting people and coins and projects who don't have the resources rent the resources off them through a marketplace where you can sell your resources, right? So it's a pretty innovative idea, and it's definitely not super unique. However, it's pretty clear RLC has been getting a great amount of attention for it. And as the metaverse and as gaming tokens rise up, you want to be finding the coins, that are, and the projects that are selling the shovels in the gold mine rather than buying the gold directly, right? And that's why I like RLC, and that's also why I like Theta, because they both do a similar thing. Now look, RLC is a coin that I have very high ambitions for, and one of the reasons I like this coin not only is because of the smooth TA, right? We have such a clear uptrending level of support, also because it's very, very, very easy to trade. Once it bounces off one of these support levels, it's very simple. It just goes up from there, from what we've seen historically. And one of these pumps that we saw back here in April to May was absolutely gigantic as we took off, as the NFT space kind of took off. And we're seeing a similar kind of market environment just as the NFT space was taking off in May. The metaverse space is kind of, and gaming space is taking off now towards the end of the year. So it should be interesting to see what happens with RLC. Now, I think this triangular breakout is going to be a pretty big part of that picture. Why? Well, it's coming towards the 30th of November, which is the breakout point, right? So we should be breaking out by the 30th of November. If we do see a break to the upside, I think we could probably match something like this. Maybe not as gigantic, depending on the state of the market. It really would depend on the state of the market, but we could see something quite large here for RLC. We are seeing compression on the SMAs. All three of our SMAs are within around 20 cents of each other. The last time we saw compression on the SMAs on RLC, we saw a massive surge in value. As you can see here, in October, we surged from around $3.69 all the way up to around $6.66 within about a month, right? So if we see something similar there, and that was even without our triangular breakout. Now we have a triangular pattern forming, so the surge should be even higher in my personal opinion. And if Bitcoin recovers, altcoins should go kind of ballistic in my personal opinion. So it looks good on the shorter term timescale, and we can also see that I've just forgotten to show you guys, we have a bullish MACD cross that is forming as well. So if we do see a breakout to the upside, it would be bolstered and expanded. The move would be expanded due to the bullish MACD cross that is coming in here in RLC. So as for the Bollinger Bands as well, it's just tracking quite nicely, and the VVPR shows us that our last major level of historical resistance where heaps of people are selling and this massive contention between the buyers and sellers is actually at $4.60, which is our breakout point, right? So getting above $4.60 would not only flip all of our SMAs, not only trigger a bullish MACD cross, but it would also flip the last major point of contention on the VVPR. So $4.60 is definitely a place you should be looking at for RLC. As for the weekly chart, we can see something pretty interesting. We can see that we're having a compression on the Bollinger Bands. The last time we saw a compression this massive, we actually saw it here in November 2017, around the same time frame. And what followed that part was a move from 50 cents all the way up here to around $3.60. And if you wanted to count the wick, all the way up to around $15, right? So we basically 30x'd the last time we saw a compression on the Bollinger Bands this tight, relative to size, of course. Of course, the compression is not going to be as tight as it was back there because the price was significantly lower. Another time we saw compression on the Bollinger Bands was probably around here in October, where we moved up from around 18 cents to around 81 cents. And then we saw another one in January where we moved up from around $1 to our all-time high on RLC currently, which is around $17 within a matter of a couple months, right? A few months. So compressing on the Bollinger Bands is definitely a bullish sign. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean we'll break to the upside. What it does mean is that a big move is on the way. So whether that's a downside break or an upside break is up for interpretation. However, due to the state of the market, due to how Bitcoin's performing, we would be inclined to believe that it is an upside break. If you're bullish on the market, of course. If you're bearish, you'd probably be inclined to believe it's a downside break. But I am a big believer in cyclical theory. I believe that trends repeat over time. And the last time we saw this compression was at the same time period in November 2017, just after making all-time highs in May. What did we do here on RLC? We made all-time highs in May, and now we're compressing in November, just like in the last cycle. So I'd be inclined to believe that the breakout would actually be to the upside, and that will be coming in around mid-December, right, according to the cyclical theory, possibly late December if this cycle extends a little bit longer. And if we have lengthening cycles, which I'm not a massive believer in, it's probably going to happen much later, right? But the point is, the compression is there, so it's only a matter of time until we have a breakout, in my personal opinion. As for the volume, a lot of people could say the volume doesn't look too good. Well, I would just refer you back to the previous cycle, right? We didn't even have much volume in RLC at all until we saw January 2018, right? We had a flat line on volume after basically nothing happening here significant. And then when we saw the altcoin season, we had a massive amount of volume just surging in. Currently, we're seeing a flat line in the volume after a massive surge of volume, but obviously that can change very quickly, like it did here in 2017. So I'm not particularly worried about that at all. As for the Bitcoin pair, we're seeing something very similar to what we did last year. Kind of last year, okay, and also 2019. We saw a bottoming out, we saw a surge, we saw a drop down, and we saw a W formation where the right side of a W was a bit lower, and then a new all-time high. All right, what we're seeing now is a drop down, a surge, a W formation where the right side of a W is a bit lower, and then possibly a new all-time high as well. So I'm expecting us to break the new all-time highs on the Bitcoin pair as well during the altcoin season, which I'm thinking is going to be in January to early February. So we've got to keep an eye on that as well. As to whether we'll reach all-time highs, I don't think it will happen, right? All-time highs on the Bitcoin pair don't happen very often on altcoins that have been around since the last cycle, just because the market is way more saturated than it was in the last cycle. So there's more altcoins, more money spread into more places. I think we probably have a good chance of surging past our May all-time high here. Not all-time high, but local high, and we probably look to top out, I reckon, around 51,000 sats if we're being a little bit optimistic there, because we reached 28,000 in May, and that was a miniature altcoin season. Assuming we see a larger altcoin season, we should probably, just about double that target. So I'm looking at around 51,000 sats. Maybe if you're being a bit conservative, you could look at about 45,000 sats too. So those are the regions I'm looking at for the Bitcoin pair. And as for the USD pair, I've gone over this in multiple videos. Go ahead and check out why I think this in previous videos. I'm not going to explain it again, but I'm looking at 23 USD for the end of the altcoin season on RSC. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.